Hey there, it's BoardGameDave. Welcome to another Solo Play Sunday. Today, I'll be soloing a game called Assyria 2nd Edition. Now, this is a brand new game that's coming to Kickstarter from Garphill Games, and it's a complete overhaul, redesign, reimagining of the original Assyria, which came out back in 2009. And one of the best parts of the 2nd edition is that it features a solo mode. So today we're gonna go ahead and give that solo mode a try. Before we begin, I thought you should know that Solo Play Sundays are for charity. At the end of the game, I'll donate about half of my score to a charity, and the other half goes toward microloans for entrepreneurs in developing countries through an organization called Kiva.org. The charity for today is the National Immigrant Justice Center. I'll talk more about NIJC at the end of the video, but if you have a recommendation for a charity I should check out or a game I could play for the next Solo Play Sunday, please let me know in the comments down below. Anyways, let's get to it. All right, here we are ready to start our solo playthrough of Assyria 2nd Edition from Garphill Games. Now, I do want to point out that I do have some stuff strategically placed over the main board just to kind of consolidate space and keep things visible. My player board is covering up the bottom right of the main board, which you only need for higher player count, so we can go ahead and cover that up with no ill effect. I also want to point out too that in a 2-player or solo game, you block off 4 rows of the main board. So you'll notice 2 rows there and 2 rows there. You can kind of pick and choose how you want to block that off, but that's what those black pieces are representing. Those parts are off limits for us. Now I've got my red solo opponent player starting ziggurat right there. That's kind of randomly placed, and then mine is right over there. I'm going first in player order. I also have my starting food card that we kind of did a sort of pseudo bid for in a solo game. The solo player has their deck right there with a little kind of reference guide up there as well. They have 1 hut in their starting supply. I have 1 in my player supply and 1 gold as well. And that's how we start our solo game. Now, this is not meant to be a teach video, just so you know, but I will point out some main gameplay elements as we go. Assyria is played over 6 rounds instead of 8 like the original, and there's floods that are going to take place after rounds 3 and 6. The flow of the rounds is shown in the top right corner of the main board up there, but also right here. Let's go ahead through them really quickly. We have a growth phase, then bidding, then expansion, then actions, then cleanup. So we go through those phases in each round. Again, then the flood, then we do 3 more rounds, then another flood, then we have another quick scoring round, and then the game is over. So 6 rounds, 2 floods. That's the game in a nutshell. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump right in, and I'll just try my best to sort of give you those big gameplay ideas as we proceed. So let's start with our growth phase. The first thing we do is we flip over our token up here to see how many huts we're going to add to our supply. So 3, okay? Now I've got one off to the side as well over here. It's slightly different, but we'll explain that later. I'm going to add 3 huts from the main supply to my personal supply right there. Going to do the same thing for the AI player. We're going to add 3 huts right there. Okay. We also need to put some cards out. We're going to put food cards out and favor cards. Whoops. 1, 2, 3. So we've got a deck of food cards right here. Now, the order of this is kind of important. So we'll start from the top down. Okay. And higher value cards, see there's the 3 there, go lower on the list. And the way this basically goes is you're kind of drafting, and then if there's a tie, the card that was already there first gets higher priority. What you're going to do is you're going to draft for better cards, but also turn order. That's what this bidding phase is going to be. So that's the first column. Now we do our second column. There's a 2, 1 goes higher than that, and the 3 goes at the bottom. It's pretty easy. 1, 2, 3, right? So that's what we do with the food cards, and then favorite cards are really easy. We just put 3 out from the top to the bottom, okay? So make 1 offering, move 1 of your huts to an adjacent space, and gain 1 ship. Okay, now the way this works is I get first dibs. I'm at the top of the player order. I'm going to go ahead and choose which row I'd like to draft those cards. But again, there's that turn order element. Once we resolve the rows, player order is top to bottom of those 3 rows. If I want to kind of save my spot or make my bid stronger, I can go to one of these middle spaces, either losing 1 point or down here losing 3 points, and I can't be outbid if I go there. So right now, these 2 are looking pretty equivalent. I think what I'll do, especially this early on, I don't really need the extra fish. Moving a hut to an adjacent space is okay, but these 2 are pretty equivalent. I'll go ahead and just take that middle space and I won't lose any points. We start with 10 points each, by the way. Over there, we've got an influence track over here and an offering track over there. We're all at the same space. So that's my bit. The AI player, for any decision they make, they basically just flip a card and resolve what it says. So they're looking for the row with the most fish. So that would be, of course, that bottom row. All right, so that's pretty simple. They go there. No issues. If they were going to outbid me, they might go there. I'd have to choose a different row. And that's how it works with other, human players as well. But in this case, worked out pretty well. I've got the middle row. They've got the bottom row. Okay, we'll go ahead and speed this up. That's their discard pile. So that was bidding. Okay, now we move on to expansion. So a lot of things happen here. First is building huts. So I'm going to take these cards, right? They go into my kind of area here. So I've got lots of fish, lots of meat, and I've got this favorite card. Let me go ahead and shove these huts over to the side. So these are my cards right here. So what I want to do is I want to put my huts out. I have to at least place these three. I can place that fourth one as well onto spaces, ideally that match my food cards, because I have to feed them. That's the very next thing that happens. So obviously I've got fish there. I've got meat here. I need to expand adjacent from my starting ziggurat. So for example, just to kind of move along quickly here, I see a fish space, right, in the river, and we can build on the river. That's going to give us cows. It's going to give us camels for trading. So that's a fish space, and then I see a meat, and then I see a meat. And the only catch is I do have this other fish. I'd like to put that down, but I'm not adjacent to, I am actually another fish space. So I'm just going to keep it simple. I, again, don't have to place this up. Let's go ahead and place it on that fish space. It'll be very, very easy to feed. Now, of course, I could have also placed a third meat space, but we're not going to worry about that. So I build my huts. Now we're going to feed. And in this case, I do have to overfeed here, okay? So I'm spending the 3 meat card to feed those 2 meat huts and then the 2 fish. And there are ways to kind of keep track of which huts are fed and which ones aren't. That's not really important because there's only 4 huts right there. So right now, they're all fed. The next part is losing huts that you don't feed. Of course, that didn't happen. So I'm just going to go ahead and discard these cards and move on to the next phase, which is building wells. So if I ever have 3 huts adjacent to each other in sort of like a triangle shape around one of these circles, right out here, I can build a well. That gives me 2 camels as shown here and opens up my storage for more than 9 camels. But that's not possible right now, so no worries, all right? Moving on to gaining camels. Now that's shown right here. Actually, I'm gonna grab another player board so you can see this a little bit better. So that's what I was talking about with the wells. They give you 2 camels. At this point, when we gain camels, right, same icon, we're gonna get 2 camels for each hut that we built in the river, and for each of the 2 rivers that we have a hut on, we get an additional camel, right? So that's 2, 4 camels. Not a super great first round, but it's kind of one of those building games. So now we're done with the camels, and now we do some scoring. Each step of the ziggurat plus 1 point for huts that are on the dry side of the board, dry sides, and then 2 points for the fertile area in between the rivers. So that'd be 1 point for my hut. Okay, we don't count the rivers for these. 1 point for that dry hut and 2 points for the fertile one. 2, 1, 1. That's 4 points. I won't get this out every time, but just so you know, that's sort of reference there on your player board. So 4 points for me. And you'll notice, by the way, I did that whole phase on my own, right? And then the AI player is going to do that whole phase themselves. So they're going to wipe their cards just like I did. And those just get discarded. They don't hold on to those. And then if they have any huts on the board, they're going to go ahead and remove those huts, which is an interesting part of their expansion phase, but they don't have any huts. So now we reveal cards and put huts based on what the cards say. So we're looking for a meat hex, right? And we have 2 possible ones adjacent to the ziggurat. So now we look down here to see if this helps us with a tiebreaker. So they ideally like to go in the fertile area. They can't expand out there. They like to go on a river space. Again, there's no meat river space, and they are both on the dry side of the river. So that didn't help us. Now we go up to the arrows, and they want the highest, the topmost space. So that would leave us with that meat space. It's not always that convoluted, but in this case, it's helpful to go through those tiebreakers. So that's the first hut. Next hut, we want to go on salt. And again, ideally, we'd like to be in this middle area, but we can't get there yet. But they would like to go on the river space, and there is a river salt space, so they're going to build across to here, even though, again, there's a space here and here as well. But again, they're looking for these priorities. All right. There you go. Next one is grapes in the river. Ideally, that's not possible. How about on the dry land? No grapes. Okay. And they're not adjacent to any grapes at all, actually. So in this case, let me think about this. We're just going to do the river space that they can build on. Yeah, that's rightmost and topmost. So rightmost would be either of these, and the topmost is that one. So it's kind of weird. No grape spaces for them. They're actually on a grape space. Probably why that happened. So again, we just ignore that, head down here, we looked for a river space, and then use these as a final tiebreaker to go up on that fish space. Wow. And last one, we've got another salt space. Ideally, in that fertile area, we can't, but we do have a river salt. So the AI player is climbing all the way up that river, and they've got 4 huts on the board. Now they're going to score the exact same way I do. Actually, sorry, we got to make sure they can't build any wells. They don't tend to build wells. Now, if they had built one here, a hut, that would be a well right there, which would give them 2 gold. They use gold instead of camels, but they can't build any wells, right? So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and score. We're going to give them 1 gold for each hut on the river space plus 5 gold. Now that 5 gold is based on my difficulty. It goes from 1 star to 4 stars, and the only thing that changes is the amount of gold they get per round. So they get 1, 2, 3 river space huts plus 5, so 8 gold. And then they're going to score. So we give them 1 point for the ziggurat space. We don't score for the river spaces. We'll just give them the 1 point for that dry hut over there. So it's 2 points total for the AI, and I'll give them their 8 gold. All right, so I've given the AI player their 8 gold right there, and they're done with the expansion phase. We're moving on to actions. Now, this is the one complaint maybe that I have with the game primarily, is that there's no player aid for this, because there's 11 different actions you can choose during your action phase, and it's a lot. You can gain plows, which is spending 3 camels to get these wild tokens there. You can build a new ziggurat. You can build on top of an existing ziggurat to make it higher. You can make offerings, which is right there. That's how you move up this track. You can purchase a hut or a ship and a farmer, which is this guy right here. You can gain a face-up card that's revealed over there. It's left over. You can gain a gold. Now, those 4 things I just mentioned that have these tiles here, that's a once per phase thing. So you flip these over as you do them. Everything else you can do multiple times. You can also make a tribute that's kind of garnering influence with these different civilizations. We have Medes, Harapins, and Israelites over there. So you can give them gold and or ships to kind of, again, gain influence and move up this track right there, which is going to score you points during the flood. Oh my goodness. You can build a hut. You can build a ship on the board, and you can use a favor card, which is this guy that we have. So there's a lot of things you can do during the action phase, and you just sort of have to either remember all the 11 actions or know where to look on the board to remind you, okay, I can do this thing, I can build out here, I can work on the offerings, I can build my ziggurats, etc., etc. It's a little bit much for new players, but you get to a point where you kind of remember what you can do. All that to say, I've only got 4 camels this first round, which is not very good, and I have my 1 gold sitting there. So of course I could spend the camels to do tribute to these civilizations. Again, over here, the topmost one costs 3 camels, then 2 camels, then 1 camel. And that's also corresponds with how much you move up the offering track. So spend more camels, go up more on the track, and these will rotate out each round, which is actually pretty cool. I'll show you that when we get to the end of the round, which is coming up actually pretty soon. So they also give you a benefit if you spend those camels to kind of trade or whatever, negotiate with them. So all that to say, I think what I'll do for right now, I'm going to just keep it super simple, I think. And what we'll do is spend 4 camels to build the 2nd level of my ziggurat. Now, one important rule that you can't miss is that each ziggurat can only be built on 1 time, and you can only build from each column 1 time per round. Okay, it's very important. Building these up is going to make different things cheaper, by the way. So we talked about going up the offering tracks, or making an offering, getting huts and or a ship and a farmer, taking face-up cards, and gold, right? And the way this works is the more pieces you have removed from your board, the cheaper these actions get, right? Instead of paying 3 camels for 1 card, at this point I can already, based on my first ziggurat I placed out, pay 2 camels for 1 face-up card. And once I remove this, it'll be 1 for 1, which I always like going up this column. It gives you 4 different strategies to pursue. But all that to say, let's spend our 4 camels, right? It's going to drop it down to 0 to build that next tier on my ziggurat. Boom, okay? And by the way, for the first level and second levels, the next one I build down here is going to be 7 minus 1. So 6 for the base level, and then 4 minus 1 will be 3 for the second tier. So they get cheaper as they go. I'm already down to 0 camels, so that's the end of my action phase. Actually, this should go here, right? And then the AI player is going to go. They're going to move this up to here to show their turn order for the next round. And then they're going to do the same basic idea, but with gold instead of camels. So we look at the card and do what it says. We resolve top to bottom the first action they can do. So in this case, can they build a second tier onto their ziggurat? Yes, they can. So they'll spend 3 gold to do that, right? Super simple. 1, 2, 3, and they build their second tier. Now the AI player has no restrictions on building the same ziggurat more than once. So if the next card we flip says build the third tier, they would go ahead and do that, right? They can't build a second tier, but they can build a third. So there it is, right? Spend 3 gold. I promise I didn't plan that out. 3 more gold, and they build their third tier. Remember, that scores every round. Remember, we score each segment of the ziggurat. So they got 2 gold left. So can they do this? No, they can't afford it. They can spend 1 gold to get a point and draw a face-up card, and they'll take the leftmost, right? Again, using those tiebreaker things. Now, they don't actually take the card, they just discard it. And yes, we could afford this bottom one, but we only do 1 action per card. So we take the point, and we discard the card. Now, if they had gone first, right, that could really throw my plans off because my whole thing is taking face-up cards. So that can be a little brutal. And the last card is spending a gold, right, to negotiate to gain influence with the bottom of the 3 civilizations. They'll place a gold out. So what that looks like, and same thing for me basically, is we take that gold. This goes from the supply actually, onto one of these spaces, doesn't matter where, right? And they're going to go ahead and gain that 1 influence. So they're going to move up on this track. And this is sort of, you just want to be higher in the track to gain points at the end of the 3 rounds. So that's how that works. They're out of gold, so they're finished with their action phase. And then we can go to cleanup, which is super simple, right? Cleanup this is called the rise and fall of civilizations. The top civilization goes away. These 2 are going to go ahead and move up, right? And then we're going to take the next one from the deck. You can't see, but there's a whole stack of these. And we flip it over, and that becomes the lowest ranked civilization. So you'll notice they'll just keep cycling through. And that whole thing was 1 round. So it's allowed. Go ahead and discard these cards. We would also, the only other thing is flipping over your tiles if you had flipped them over during your action phase. So I spent a lot of time kind of explaining that round. So let's go ahead and speed things up and kind of move in real time here. With round 2. So here we go, starting with the growth phase. We flip over, remember, our token. Now this is a 4, so it's going to be a much bigger round as we put more buildings down on the board. So 4 into our personal supply. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 for the AI opponent as well. All right, so that's pretty easy. Next, we fill our board here. So let's go ahead and do that. So low numbers go to the top. Again, low numbers there. And that was pretty easy. We've got a 2. We've got a 2. Cards that were already there get pushed up to the top if they're the same number. And then remember, we have 3 favorite cards. Boom and boom. So draw 1 food card, gain 1 gold, and gain 1 gold. I'll point out really quick, by the way, these favorite cards, they show you when you can use them. So this one you can use during the build phase and during the action phase. And they also remind you, you can always discard these for a camel during the action phase. So if you don't like your card, it can be a camel, which is very helpful sometimes, right? So that is that. And we're ready for the bidding phase. Now I have to, now this is really important, and I think it's one of those things it's hard to wrap your head around the first time you play. All those huts that I built, right? I had the meat, I had the fish on my cards. They stay out there, and this round I have to, remember, play 4 more huts on the board. I'm gonna have 8 to feed. So you have to remember, okay, it's not like I'm just feeding the new ones. I have to remember, okay, I still need those 2 meat and I still need those 2 fish, which is why having cards that, match existing huts is pretty helpful. So I already know I need 2 meat, right? And I have first dibs. So this one could be helpful for me, even though it's not the best row, objectively, subjectively for me, it's not bad, and I'm blathering. So let's go ahead and drop that down, flip the AI card. They're looking for salt. So whichever one has the most salt, and it looks like the top one. So they're actually gonna go first this round. And I'll tell you what, player order is huge in this game. So bidding is done. AI is gonna start their expansion phase, which is discarding cards. Excuse me. All right. And then they place their huts. So we're going to go ahead and first, I'm so glad I caught this. The first thing they do is remove an existing hut. I guess that represents like them not being able to feed, kind of. So same thing, we'll look at a card. We're looking for a meat card. Or a meat hut. There's only one. So we'll go ahead and remove that back to their main supply, which is off the side there, right? And then we'll build their 4 huts. A little bit strange. We're looking for fish, ideally in that fertile area. Now they can't do that, but there is a river fish right here that they're adjacent to, so that works for them. We're looking for meat on the river. Yep, we can do that. Up there. All right, we got 2 more. We're looking for meat on the river. Can't do that. Can we do a fertile middle area meat? I see one right there. All right, and then let's do one more. We've got grain on the river. Yep, they've got it. So that is crazy. They're going nuts on that river space. Now, remember, the AI player, they don't score points, neither do I, for huts on the river, but that's how they get the gold. Gold is what propels their action. So this is actually enormous for the AI player. Yikes. Okay, well, thankfully we don't have to deal with that now. They are done with their whole expansion phase. It's my turn. So I take my cards. Here we go. Excuse me. I forgot this as well. I'll just go ahead and scooch this down so we can see what I've got here. Whoops. All right, cool. So 2 fish, 2 meat, those are covered, okay? However, again, I have to build these 4 huts, and as it stands right now, 3 of them at least are not going to get fed. Now, I will point out, I do have this food token here. These are called the plow tokens. It costs 3 camels to flip them both over. One of them starts the game flipped face down, but I do have a wild food token. So we'll probably end up using that, using that, although you don't have to use that. They don't make you. All that to say, I probably do want to put a fish out since I have a 3rd fish, which is here. Can I get there? Sure. Like I can build huts out there knowing they're going to get removed during the, the kill off unfed huts phase. So why don't I just, it's going to be tricky. I'll just plop this down here, I guess. And, there's also building wells. Here's the problem with building wells, though. You need to feed the huts, before you do the wells. So I can't just put this here, right? Know that I can't pay the grain and build a hut. That's not how it works. So, actually, wells are nice. Again, they give you 2 camels and they give you more storage space. I might be inclined to do that. So instead of feeding that grape, I actually might feed the grain with my wild. Let's put this here. I did want to get to this fish space. Yep, we'll go ahead and do that. And then essentially I've got this hut that is gonna get wiped no matter what. So I don't think there's not a lot of sense in overthinking this. I'll just plop it down right here. Okay, so now we go to the feeding phase. One easy way to do this is just kind of like cover up the food. There's many ways to do this, but I'll just do it this way. So there's 2 meat, right? Here's a fish, okay? And then do I have 2 more fish? Yes, fish and fish. So I'm kind of covering up the food icons, right, as I do that. So I'm discarding those. I'm going to flip over my wild food token. Here's a better look at that token. You'll see that the same token is also represented or here on the influence track. So as you move up those first dibs, you can take those tokens. So anyway, I'll flip that over. I'm going to use that to feed, again, this grain space so I can build a hut. Now, we do have to kill off this hut and this hut. They just go back to the main supply, which is here. All right, and that was my feeding phase. Now I can build a well. I don't have to do that, but in this case, I think it's probably not a bad idea. Okay, you'll notice no circle here, so I can't build a hut there, but put one there. Reminder here that I get 2 camels for doing that immediately. All right. Oh, you know what? Sorry. I did skip around a little bit. The AI player, I forget how much happens in this phase. Before we do my camels, let's do the AI's quote unquote camels, which is gold. So going back to their turn here, they can't build wells. They are going to get a ton of gold. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down the river plus their 5. So that's 11 gold. And then they're going to score each level. There's a route 1, 2, 3 plus 2 more points. It's 5 points for the scoring phase there. So 5 points plus 11 gold. I'll go ahead and take care of that. And then we'll go ahead and get back to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 gold for the AI. So that is going to be kind of a behemoth action phase, I'm sure, for them. But anyway, where were we? That's the huts. Then it's camels for me. Remember, 2 per river hut. 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 1 for being on that river. That's 7 total. And I'm scoring 1 per ziggurat level. It's 2 plus 1, 1, 2 there, 2 there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. For me, takes me to 22. All right, so that's that. And then we do our action phase. I guess we can just go ahead and plow on through. Do we have 11 for the AI player? Yes. And then we'll have to shuffle at some point. So am I missing anything? Well, I'm missing to bring that guy there. All right, let's do it. Spending 3 to build a second level. Can't do that. They can spend 1 to get a point and take the rightmost revealed card, which, so remember my whole thing is spending a camel to gain a face-up card, and that would have been a good one, right? Gaining gold, but it's discarded, right? I love that it mimics a human player like that. That card is done. 5 to build a new ziggurat. So all that means for them is it has to be, well, there's only one space they can do it. You can't build ziggurats in the river, and you need to have a hut to build a ziggurat. It replaces the hut, so we don't have to worry too much about it, but we will spend the 5 gold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, pretty expensive, but that's a big move. They remove their only non-river hut and replace it with the ziggurat, and easy to forget, move up the offering track. All right. Yep. So there we go. This is going to score big points at the end of the flood phase, potentially. So depending on where you are. Next, spend 3 gold to place an offering up there at the, not an offering, do the favors. What's the word? It's so late at night, by the way. The offering track. It's not the offering track. What is this? Influence track. Oh, heavens. Spend 3 gold, right? There you go. 1, 2, 3. We take the gold from the supply, place it up here, and that is a big 3 influence. 1, 2, 3. And unfortunately, they discard the food token. So that kind of stinks. So that was that. They've got 2 gold left. We've got this one. 3 can't do, 3 can't do, 1. Just to go up the offering track. It's easy. 1, move up. All right. And the last card here, 1 gold, offering track. There you go. Easy. We'll reshuffle that in a sec. And they're all the way up there. Now me, I've got my 7 camels. I can discard these for camels as well. Let's see what I can do. Now I still have that gold. I haven't really messed around with that at all. Let's see. So going up here will cost 3 camels, as it says on the main board. And I have to spend my gold or a ship, which I don't have. That lets me flip over one of my plows for doing that, which is actually kind of important. You see how important those food tokens are. So plus it would get me closer to 8, which would get me this food token, but that's a long way to go. I can also spend a camel or a gold to get a hut that goes on my personal supply here. I forget the terms for this supply and this supply. The only difference is these huts over here, I don't have to play. I'm not forced to play them. So that's helpful to have that flexibility. That's what that icon is. And last one down here is remove a non-river hut to get 2 points with the Hittites. So anyways, oh gosh, why don't we, I feel like I should do some sort of offering thing, but it's so expensive. Instead, what I can do is actually build that 3rd tier of my ziggurat. It would cost me 3 camels, and you get an immediate benefit. That's taking a face-down food card. That could be really helpful. So let me go ahead and just start with that. So I'm going from 7 down to 4. And I don't really know what I'm doing here, but I'll go ahead and build that. And then I get to draw a face-down food card right here. 2 grapes. Okay, well, that could be helpful. And then, let's see. What can I do? I can spend a camel for a face-up card. Oh, that's huge because that 3 fish card is out there. That is absolutely essential. I should have moved this. Let's spend 1 camel instead of 3, right, to grab that triple fish card. And then technically we're supposed to flip this, although usually I can remember to do that. We've got 3 camels left. What can we do, right? We can flip our these guys over. That would be helpful, but I'd rather go up there and flip the 1, okay? Just because I get all that extra influence. So we spend 3 camels. We're going to spend our gold. We're just going to go up here. There's a little 3 there. Okay, 3 camels, 3 influence. 1, 2, 3, and I get to flip one of my tokens over. And then I'm out of camels, which means our action phase is done. And we go into cleanup, which, if you remember, 1 is rise and fall of civilizations. Those go away. Those move up. We get a new one. Right? We wipe any cards that are left, and we flip over tiles, and we're ready for the next round. I'm going to just jump right in. Here we go. Growth phase. We've got a 2. Okay. By the way, there's 4 of these in each color. There's a 2, 2 3s, and a 4. So this is a pretty average scenario, right? So we take 2, add it there, 2 for the AI, add it there, and then we need to go ahead and put some cards out, and I'll do some shuffling in a second. 3 goes there, 1 goes there. Oh, so this is a wild, right? So even though it's only 2 resources, it's valued very high because wild, as you can probably already tell, it's very valuable in this game. All right, we've got a 1, another 1, and we've got a 3, and then we've got gain 2 influence, gain 1 hut, and we've got, ooh, what is this? Treat a 1 or 2 valued food as a 3. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, that's a very strong card. All right, but it's the bidding phase, and I don't get to bid first. AI player goes first. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle these and figure out where they want to go. Okay, I'm all shuffled up. Let's take a look. They're looking for grain. There's 1 grain with the wild. There's 1 grain up there. So that's a tie, which means they're going to go for the lowest. That is not good. So you'll get to see overbidding here. They're going to claim that one here. I have been eyeing it up, and I would really like that one. So I'm going to go to the space below it, which means I immediately lose 1 point, no matter, okay? And then the AI player has to choose a different row. They can't just overbid me and go down here and lose 3 points. It's not how it works. So they pick a new one, whichever one has most salt, which obviously is the bottom row, but again, they can't choose that. So in this case, they'll go to the top. So I lost a point. I also lost turn order, but I just need resources. So I'm okay with that. Bidding phase is over. It's time for the expansion phase. Now this time I'll try to do this correctly. So AI player discards the cards. All right, and they're going to start building huts. Now, first they remove a hut, so we flip a card, see which one they remove. They're looking for meat. There is just 1 somehow, so they remove that, and then they're going to build the 2 huts. A very short round. Grapes on the river, not a thing. Is there any dry grapes? Yes, right there for some dry wine, okay? And then the last one's going to go on salt in the river, ideally, but if not, on the fertile side of things, and I do see there's 1 that meet that criteria. So there they go. So they build the huts, okay? And then again, without forgetting the wells, I don't see any way for them to build wells. Of course, wells are only on the dry sides of the board, so we'll skip that. Huts on the river, again, they went nuts with that. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus the 5, so 10 gold, and then we'll do some scoring. So let me find 10 gold really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, there's their 10 gold. They're going to score 1 point for each ziggurat section. 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 1 point for that guy and 2 points for that guy. So 7 points total gets them up to 26. And now they're done with that whole expansion phase. Now it's my turn. I've got 2 huts and some pretty nice cards. So here's what I wanted to do. Okay, let's move these off to the side because they're not really relevant right now. So I did realize I should have moved. So the card here, if you can't see it, move 1 of your huts to an adjacent space. I could have done that during the last action phase. I should have moved something off of the meat space, just knowing that wasn't, it wasn't in my cards. But oh well. I do have my 3 fish all covered, which is great. I have 2 meat and a grain. So, it's not really in line with my cards. Of course, I do have my 1 wild token. I might end up using that. Yeah, we'll see. It would be nice to get across somehow to this river because, again, remember, being on each river gives you a camel. So just hopping over there, that first hut will give me 3 camels. So that would be pretty strong, but I won't be able to feed them. I really don't have the icons for it. So what I think I'll do is maybe just pivot toward grapes or salt. That would work too. And I've got these grape cards. I'm tempted to just take those 2, but maybe that's not very strong. I could do... I just know I'm going to lose so many of my huts, which is really a bummer. Why don't I go... Maybe I'll just keep it simple and do what I said. Grape and grape. And I guess I'll just lose my... Yeah, I mean, that'll give me a lot of points, but not a lot of camels. And camels are the whole beast. Okay, forget that. Let's just put this... I'm going to put that here instead. Yeah, because that's the other grape. All right. And then I'm debating whether or not to use this. So again, I'll show you how I do the feeding. We've got my fish here. It's 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. We've got the 2 grapes are fed. Grape and grape. And then, yeah, so I've got 1 wild token there. And I have, if I want to spend this card to feed that, I could. So... Oh, quick clarification. I do have to spend this card to feed a hut. Yeah, you cannot withhold cards, even if they're wild. Plow tokens are different, and those food tokens are different, but cards you cannot keep for further rounds if you could spend them. So I'll just pick something, I guess just maybe the meat to go ahead and feed, and then, yeah, I lose that card, unfortunately. And then I could spend this to salvage, I don't know what, this or this. I think I'm not going to do it. I don't know if I need those huts necessarily. So unfortunately, I'm going to lose this one and lose this one. I think I'm maybe okay with that. Could be a mistake. We'll find out. All right. Can't build any huts, but I can get some camels. So I get 2, 4, 6, plus the 1 for being there on that river. So that's 7. And then my scoring is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. 29. Still got the lead, and we're ready for the action phase. Oh, I didn't even take this card. Whoops. Oh, well, that wouldn't have applied. Would it? Nah, could have helped me feed another grape, I guess, but I'm not too worried about it. All right, action phase. So here we go. Yeah, I didn't have another grape to feed, so no worries there. We've got 10 gold for the AI players. So 3 to build a second tier of the ziggurat. Yep, they can do that. 1, 2, 3. There you go. All right, easy. Next, 5 to build a new ziggurat, and they could build it here, and they could build it here. So I'm trying to remember if we do look at the food icon. I think we do. And then the fertile area. So we're going to go ahead and build the ziggurat down there for 5 gold. All right, here's their 5 gold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And they're building a new ziggurat right here in the fertile area. Boom. Like so. Holy smokes. That is daunting. And, of course, going up the offering track. They do that every time they build a level 1. So this goes here, and they're going to go ahead and plop this roof down. This will be explained in a little bit, but that goes right there. And I don't believe they take the benefit. I'll double check that. All right. And they've got 2 gold left. We can do this one. Influence with the bottommost civilization. We'll put this here for 1 influence, up to 5. There are 2 points there printed on the board. You get those points as you cross those thresholds. AI does as well. So we've got 1 gold left. Can't do any of those. Next one, 1 gold for the offering track. All right. And they are done. I'll go ahead and explain this. I haven't done it yet. After this third round, actually, which is right now, there's going to be a flood phase. So a couple things happen. It's actually pretty straightforward. Let me go ahead and show you in the rule book. So the first thing that happens is everything on the rivers gets wiped. There are ships, which we haven't put out at all. Ships just let you kind of increase your adjacency range on the river spaces. So there's also farmers, which are these green guys up there. They just cover up the food token, and then you can spend any resource for that food. So we haven't seen those yet, but anyway, everything that's on rivers, ships, farmers, and huts all get wiped, which is kind of crazy. Then we score influence, then we score offerings. So Influence scoring is a little bit tricky. Essentially what happens is whoever's highest gets all 3 of those, and then depending on how far back I am, I either get the other 2, so they score all 3, then we remove the highest number, right, the 4. I either score the 3 and the 2, or just the 2, or 0, depending on how far away I am from them. It's pretty convoluted. In the solo game, at least, it's not that bad in the other game. Well, it's the same way in 2-player. Anyway, and then we score offerings. So offerings is just looking for your wells, and then each ziggurat location. So you'll notice this icon's different. It's just the bottom tier. So this blue part shows you how many points you score per well, and the yellow shows you how many points per ziggurat location, okay? So that's where you can get a bunch of points during those flood phases. But that's neither here nor there. I've got my 7 camels. I'm in my action phase, so I should be moving these. And I've got to figure out a way to, I don't know, salvage some points or something. So, or maybe build a ziggurat, which would cost me 7 minus 1. So I could spend 6 of my camels to drop a new ziggurat, which would be helpful, although I've done 0. I'm scoring 0 points on this track. Yeah, the offering track is this guy right here. Right now, the most I can do is spend 1 camel for 1 offering step. Now, if I bump this off, it's 2 for 2 steps, which actually, that might be the move. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. So 7 minus 1, I'll spend 6 of my 7 camels to drop this. Now, where am I gonna put it? Either here, here, or there. Why don't I kind of get all up in this other dude's space? Drop that right there. Yep. And then that goes back to the main supply. And now I can spend 2 camels to go up 2 offering spaces, or 1 for 1. You can always do the lower thing. But that means getting rid of one of these cards for the camel. I don't know about this whole adjacent space thing. I'm not seeing that as very strong right now. What is this? Fish. Okay. Let's get rid of this for a camel. Okay. So now I'm at 2. I'll go ahead and spend 2 camels to do this action, which is going up the offering track. 1, 2. So now my wells will score, and I'll score 1 point for each location, which is at least something. I could still discard either of these cards for a camel, and then that would let me take one of these face-up cards. It could let me take the gain hut, which is good too. Assuming I can feed them, that's strong. But that means discarding one of these. And I do like both of these cards. I could also, I could do this. Oh, I should mention this, by the way. After the flood, this track resets, this track resets. So going ham on it right now maybe isn't super beneficial, but I do notice I could lose a point to go up the offering track again if I do a influence over there with the Amorites. That being said, I'd have to have a gold or a ship to move up that influence track. You don't need to, by the way, have those things. You could just pay the camel to do that part, but the influence track is obviously pretty important as well. Anyway, I've had 0 camels. I'm almost tempted to just leave it there. I like my cards that I have. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I could have, by the way, I could have saved this to move one of my huts off the river, knowing that it's about to flood. Actually, that's probably a pretty good move. So let me think. I'll just get rid of, I'll get rid of this one instead. And then I'll go ahead and use this to move my hut. I think this guy, moving him to here, since I do have the salt, is not a bad idea. So I'll do that right before the river phase, and I am done with my action phase. So we go ahead and do the cleanup. We're gonna wipe these cards. Rise and fall of civilizations. Have we done that every time? I think so. And then flip my tile over. I don't think I'm doing very well this game, but that tends to be the way it goes on Solo Play Sundays because I'm distracted by a myriad of things. So, time for the flood. This is fun. So, everything on the river gets removed. Boom, 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 boom. So, thankfully, that's 5 of the AI's 6 huts just got removed, which is awesome. I only lost those 2. Not too bad, right? Then we do the influence scoring over here. So the person highest on the track gets all of these, the sum of the 3 growth tokens. So that's 9 points for the AI. It takes them to 35. And then I take this off. And then the question is, am I within 4 spaces of the other player? I am, so I get the remaining 2 is how that works. again, a little bit strange. So I go to 34, and we'll go ahead and reset that down here. And before I forget, we should put a food token back on the track where it belongs. We do kind of a big reset. Last thing is scoring the offering track. So we'll do the AI first. They get 2 points per well, which they haven't built. They tend not to. And then 2 points for each ziggurat space. So 2, 4, 6 points. So 41, I get these out of the way. All right, and then I'm scoring 1 point per well, which is just the one, and then 1 point per ziggurat space, which is 2. So 3 points for me. And we are sitting at 37 to 41. These go away. And then we're going to reset this back down to here. We're going to put another roof out to replace that guy. We are going to replace this, or reset this back to how it was, which is 2 gold on each space. That's another player count specific thing. So we reset those. And then that's all the river phase is, and we're ready to jump into round 4. All right, so I went ahead and kind of fast forwarded through the growth phase, got my huts, put the cards out. I do want to point out these favorite cards though, because they're really interesting. First one up there is pay 1 camel to flip both plows instead of 3, which is really good. Build adjacent to an opponent's ziggurat. That is insane. So I can just spawn over here, which is so strong. And then building the same ziggurat twice. Remember, you can't do that. You can't build the same column or the same ziggurat twice in the same round. That lets you break that rule, which is super nice. But I don't get first dibs on the bidding phase. The AI does, and they're looking for the most grain. By the way, we got some strong cards out there. So that's 1, 2, 3 grain in that middle row. So including the wild, they're going to go ahead and drop that there. I was eyeing up either of these bottom rows. Now I only have a grape, a fish, and a salt out there. So I guess this is pretty much as good as anything else. All right, so that's that. AI is going to get rid of these cards, and then they're going to go ahead and start expanding. So they remove a hut first, as long as they have at least one on the board. So I guess that hut is gone. Doesn't matter what this says. The hut is removed, and then they build 2. So the flood, thematically really kind of resets everybody back down to almost nothing. We're looking for grapes, ideally on the river. They can't do that, but they can build in that fertile area there, okay? Can't build where I am. That should be probably pretty intuitive. And the next one's going to be salt, ideally on the river. Yeah, they can do that. Of course, they can also start building on my river, as well. They just didn't have the cards for it. So we build, we check for wells. Again, wells are not happening right now. And then they're going to get their camels. We can go get our cheat sheet again. So no wells. Camels, that's 1 for the river space, plus the 5. When I say camels, of course, these are basically camels for the AI. It's just representative camels, essentially. And then they score the point for each ziggurat, expansion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with that hut right there. So 8 points for the AI, takes them to 49. All right, and then once they score, they're done. So now it's me. I'm going to grab my cards right here. And let's go ahead and see what I got going on with my 2 huts. I got cards aplenty, resources galore with my 3 huts out there. So I guess the smart thing to do would be just spending these 2 cards. So yeah, let's see. I've got that salt thing that's going to throw things off a little bit. I can use my wild. Let's just do this. If I build 2 more grapes, I can cover all of that with just this. Or I could do this. Yeah, I'm going to try not to overthink it. Let's go for, I really want to get on the other side of the board, which would mean doing this. Yeah, I could drop a salt there. And then I should do another salt. Ideally, can I even do that? No, I'm not even adjacent to another salt. So maybe I want to save that obviously for when I have 3 good salt locations. So yeah, that's not going to work. Unfortunately, I do have that hut there, which is helpful. Okay, well, grapes are going to be my saving grace here. So go grape. And then I guess I'll just put another grape here. Again, try not to overthink it. That's not going to help me with a well, by the way. It has to be 3 huts. But I'm kind of okay with that. Okay, sure, I guess. Cool. I might end up losing that fish. I don't know if I want to spend that. Remember, I don't have to spend that token. So feeding time, we'll feed the grape. I'm going to use that for salt. Yeah, otherwise I have to spend that one. And then the fish, I think I'm just going to lose that because I'm not working on anything over there. So let's go ahead and remove that. Those go away. And then we're going to can't build a well. Although I can if I put one here. Ooh, anyway. Huh, that doesn't matter. I don't think I could have finessed that differently. Well, I probably could have, but that's okay. Where were we? Scoring camels. So I get 1, 2, 3 for being right there. And then scoring 1, 2, 3, 4 for my ziggurats. 1, 2, 3, 4 for my huts. That's 8 for me. 45. Okay. Again, that's one of those points where if I were just playing solo by myself and not filming, I'd probably take a little bit more time to see if I could kind of finesse my way around that. But I'm not going to spend too much time on it. So that's my scoring. We're done with that. And it's time for the action phase. AI over there with their 6 gold. Is that correct? Yep. Let's see what they do. We've got 3 to build a second level. They can do that. 1, 2, 3. Second level right here. Okay. And they've got 3 left. Let's flip this over. 3 to gain influence with the top civilization. So they pay the 3. And this one goes here. And again, they've got 3 influence. Rocking up that track already. And now it's my turn. Now I've only got 3 camels. Not super exciting. So not a ton I can do. I can build my second level. Because remember, 4 minus 1. That's an option. I can go up there with the Hittites, but I don't have the gold for that. It might be pretty straightforward to just build this second level. That would let me pay 3 camels to go up 3 on the offering track. Yeah, that's pretty good because I do know from experience, you can get a lot of points over here. I think 25 points is the max. It might be doable. Probably not, but I'll spend my 3 camels and go ahead and plop that right there. Although I do have this gain 1 gold. That would give me the gold I need to go over there. I could wipe out a non-river hut for 2 points, but is that really worth it? I mean, it would bring me up tied over here and closer to a food token. Oh, that's a little too tempting. Yeah, I'm going to do that instead. By the way, I do have this. I can always buy 1 gold for 1 camel. That's always been an option. So I think I'll go ahead and spend this. I'll gain a gold. And then I'll spend my 3 camels to go over here, right? 3 camels. I'm going to drop this gold down here. That space up there, that black-brown space, is only for ships, by the way. So I go up 3 on the track. And then I can choose to do this. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to remove this. I don't have any grape cards anyway. And I don't really need that. So remove that to gain 2 points. Gets me up to 47. All right. And then all I need is 1 more influence to get that token. And I don't really see a way to do that. Unfortunately, because I don't have gold, I don't have camels, I don't have a ship, I'm pretty much done. So that's my very lame action phase. And then we go ahead and do cleanup. So cleanup phase is the rise and fall of civilizations. You go away, got Amorites, you got Elamites, and we've got a new one. What is it? Sumerians. Okay. Cards get wiped. And then, of course, flipping my tiles. Like I said, I don't always flip the tiles. I tend to remember what I do with my actions. That's cleanup and we're ready for growth. I'll probably just fast forward through this again. Here we go. Awesome. So we each have our 3 huts. We got some new favorite cards, some pretty nice food cards out there. And the AI gets first dibs, and they're looking for grain. Of course, it does not literally get any better than 6 grain, so that's their spot there. I'm kind of liking this. I don't like going last, but the flexibility of those wild tokens is pretty nice. Plus, I can flip a plow during the build phase. That's really strong. Although I like that one at the top too, but this one seems a little bit better for me, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that. Going second in turn order again. Tends to be the way it goes. So AI gets to go first. This is round 5. They discard these. They're going to wipe a hut and then start building. So they're going to wipe which one? They do have a grape. Yep. So the half of their huts are gone. And then they've got 2 cards left here after shuffle. Grain on the river. They can do that there. They're looking for fish on the river. They can do that either here or here. So they'll go south to the bottom. And then I'll shuffle and we'll figure out the last hut. All right, last hut is on. Fish space in the fertile area. Is that a possibility? No. Next preference is the water river. So there they go. So they're all on the river this time. That's a lot of camels. Yep. Can't build a well. Can get some camels. So they're getting, again, not camels, gold. 1, 2, 3, 4, plus the 5. That's 9 gold. And then we start doing some scoring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so ziggurat pieces, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out there, and no huts not on the river. So it's just those 7 points. Takes them up to 56. All right, they're done. Now me. So I got some nice cards here with those wilds. And I've got that flip a plow, which is great. I do want to get across to the other river. That's really big. Remember, the first hut on the other river is going to give me 3 camels per round, which is pretty important. I've been really struggling on this whole camel thing for one reason or another. I also could get to here. If I can put that grain out, that'll give me the well, which will give me more storage space for camels and 2 immediate camels. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna use this. So that's grape and something. Actually, let's start with the salt here. So salt. There's the other river. I'm going to put this sideways just so I remember which ones I'm placing in case I backtrack on something. That's just something I came up with as I was playing solo. It's easy to forget which ones you placed and can take back versus ones that you placed last round, and obviously don't want to finesse or mess with those. So that covers salt. I've got the grape and the grape. So this is all fed, and then I've got a wild there, and I can still flip a plow. I'd like to put this here and use my plow token for that. That leaves one more. That would actually take me to the salt space. That would be great. I can expand down here. I mean, it's not awesome, but it's not bad. And then I only have to use one of those tokens. Yeah, that's pretty good. So let's make sure I'm feeding everything correctly. So salt, right? I've got 1, 2, 3. I'll go ahead and flip that over. Salt. I'm going to use this grape plus wild for grape plus wild, and just go ahead and do the grape, and then I'll flip this plow token over. That's that wild to feed the grain, and everybody's fed with just those 2 cards. So that is good. Nobody's dying. Okay, and then I can build a well. I'm going to go ahead and do that and grab those 2 immediate camels. That's right there. 2 camels, and then let's check our other camel count. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6. 1 for each river takes me to 8. It's pretty good. And then for scoring, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 for the ziggurats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 9 points total, 47 to 56. And we are tied. And I do find that at that level 2 difficulty, 2 stars, AI and I are pretty even, at least till the end of the game when there's that end game scoring. So pretty close. We are done with that, and we're ready for the action phase. So AI goes there. They've got their, what did we say, 9 gold? Yikes, that's a lot. Okay, 6 gold to build another ziggurat. And you know what? They can't, because they only have huts on the river. Big mistake, dude. Can they build a second level? No, they already have second levels. They can spend 1 for the offering track. Yep, interesting. Okay. Next, 3 gold to go to the very top. We did wipe this, right? So that's already full. So they actually can't go there. Unfortunately, they can go to the bottom one with a ship. So this is interesting. It's a very important icon. So if it was ship for this top one, they could still go there, but we've maxed that out. So on the gold track. So spend a gold and then put a ship. Now, we have not seen ships yet. I've talked about this a little bit before. Basically, they just let that be like a portal. Like that becomes adjacent to here. That's how ships work. But anyway, in this case, we're just using it to do an influence with this bottom guy. So unfortunately, this is why turn order matters so much. AI got to go first and take that food token. So that is too bad. I could really use that. Can't build a second level. Can't build a new ziggurat. Can go up the offering track. So they're in a kind of a weird scenario right now, just not being able to build, right? Right. Can't build a new one. That's get a point and take the leftmost card. So spend that, get a point, and take the leftmost card we said. I haven't really been doing my whole take a face-up card. It only costs 1 camel, but it just hasn't really been coming up. Man, it'd be nice if they could build that level 3, but they aren't coming up. 2 gold to get influence with the middle guy. Can do that. So there's 2 gold. Drop a gold right here. They get 2 more influence. 1, 2. They just cross that 2-point thing. So they get 2 more points. And they've got 3 gold left. Can't build a level 2. Can build a level 3. Now, they do say in the rulebook it doesn't matter where that goes. I like to still use the thing, you know, the map priority thing. There's no grape. They're both fertile. We'll go topmost then. Just because. Why not, right? So that goes there. And they're finished with their action phase, and it's my turn for my action phase with 8 camels. So I haven't really looked ahead. I can build the same ziggurat twice. That would cost me 3 plus 3. That would make going up the offering track over here a lot cheaper. If I had a ship, I'd be tempted to go up there and get those 3 influence, but I don't have a ship. Actually, that's why this is here, right? This is spend 3 camels to get one of these things, either 1 hut or a boat and farmer combo, which these are pretty good. I think I undervalue them, but the thing is, they're so expensive until I start removing these ziggurat tiles. So that might be an idea. Start to chip away at this thing. This cost me 5, 7 minus 2. 5 to do that. I can also pay 1 camel to take this card, pay 2 fewer camels for a tribute. That's really strong. Actually, that plus putting the ship over there, that makes it only 1 camel cost to go up 3 spaces. That's huge. So, can I afford this? I'm gonna spend, I think I just barely can. Spend 5 camels, 8 down to 3, to build this. By the way, ziggurats cannot go adjacent to wells, so these 2 spaces are not possible to build on. I don't really need to be down here, do I? I don't think so. I'm gonna get rid of that. That comes back. All right, so now it's 2 camels to get these things. I could, for 3 camels, build the same ziggurat twice, but I need those camels. Oh, I don't have enough. Yep, I'll have to spend one of these. Oh, that stinks. All right, well, I hate to do it. I think I'm going to I might get rid of this, which seems even worse. Darn it. By the way, if you're wondering how I get the next level of this, that's building a roof. That's these guys over here. So for 3 or 2 camels, you get to build the roof and then get that thing that's next to it. So I do have enough camels. I could do any of those roofs. I just don't think that's gonna work right now. I really want to do this thing with the ships and that top one. So I guess I'll discard this, although I really do love that card. But the flip one, wow, that's so strong. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll get rid of this one. So I get another camel. Okay, so I went to 4. Okay. So let me make sure I'm okay here. I didn't do any of these. I'm going to spend 1 of those camels to take a face-up card, which is this guy. Okay. Pay 2 fewer camels for a tribute. Now, before I do that, I have to spend 2 camels to get, this is a little bit confusing. Remember, a hut that goes in your personal area. Oh, geez. Or a boat and a shepherd. So a farmer, I guess is what it's called. So that's what I do. A boat and a shepherd. Remember, shepherd goes on a tile and makes it basically a wild space. Although if somebody else ends up putting their hut there, they get to use that as well. So just so you know. So that comes in. And I have exactly 1 left. And for 1 camel, right, using this, I can discount that by 2, bringing it down to 1 camel to build my ship, or I guess to give them my ship to get 3 influence. 4, 5, 6, tied with the AI, and I get those 2 points. Boom, boom. Down to 0. I think I'm happy with that, more or less. Okay, so cleanup phase. This is gone. And we are ready for the last round, folks. We are really at the final station. This is literally it. And then we do a flood, and then we do one more scoring phase, which is, by the way, feeding your huts again, which is hard to do, losing the huts you didn't feed, and then scoring. And then the game is over. That's literally all it is. So flip these back over, and let's do a growth phase. I'll fast forward through this one. Okay, so something very unfortunate has happened here for our final growth phase. We have a 4 up there, so 4 huts that the AI and I both need to build, and these cards are horrific. So if you look, I mean, they're 1s and 2s. This is fairly thematic. There's a sort of a population boom and also some sort of famine is happening. So this is going to get pretty dire, and I've only got this card sitting in my supply. So we're going to see how this goes, but we'll leave it up to the AI to do the first bid, and they're looking for the most fish, which is just 1 fish. So they're coming down here. This does mean I can probably get first player unless I outbid for that one, which, you know, with the 2 salt is actually kind of tempting. I've got 2 salt. I might do it, although again, that's going later in turn order and losing that point. But I'm also getting the farmer, and the farmer can be really helpful. I need to feed these people this last round. Don't forget, after we do the whole thing, then we do the flood, there's 1 more feeding phase. So it's important that I have those cards. I'm just going to do it. Go here, lose a point. Again, they have to choose a different row. They can't double down on the same row. So they're looking for the most grain, which would be that second row. So they still get to go first. But I'm happy with the cards I have and losing that point. So they'll go ahead and get started. They're going to expand. Remember, first thing they do is lose a hut. So we take a look at this. Look for meat. They don't have a meat, but we're looking for the, in this case, leftmost. We always start with the left arrow first. So the leftmost, lowest. Leftmost, lowest. Looks like this is the one that would be removed. And then they've got 4 to build. Here we go. Salt in the fertile area. They cannot do that. Salt on the river. Nope. Salt on dry land. Yes. There's just that one. Okay. I kind of boxed him into a little corner here. I think that's a big part of the game, although with more players, I'm sure that's more of a factor. Fertile meat. There's one there. They can't get to it. There is one on the river. They can't get to that either. So it'll be the highest one on dry land. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Was I wrong about these? I did miss. Okay, now hold on. I forgot about, of course, this thing right here. So if they do want to do river, they can get to here. So they're all up in my space for that one. Sorry about that. Whew, glad I got that. Grain in the fertile area or in the river? No, this time they are stuck on dry land. That would be this guy. And then the last one here, I'm probably not explaining these well enough. Fish in the water. Yeah, there's 2 there. Going for the rightmost, since they're on the same, y-axis. There you go. Okay. A lot of building. So that was their expansion. Can they build a well? No. Again, in my experience, the AI does not do a lot of well building unless I'm missing something. But they are getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus 5, 10 gold to fuel their action phase. So there's the 10. Yep. And then scoring, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for the ziggurats, 9, 10. I think that's exactly 10 points. So they're heading up to 69. I'm going to have to move this out the way. Hopefully that won't... I don't think there's anything important we need from here that's... Yeah, we're fine. So that's their expansion phase. My turn. So all I've got is 2 salt, a fish, a meat, and a wild. I got a farmer here, and I got a farmer here. So that could help. Got my 2 salt. Boy, okay. Now I have to remember there's going to be a flood phase. So anything I build in the flood, I won't have to feed after this. That second feeding, that extra one at the end. So it might be worth just dropping some huts in the river, knowing I'm going to get some camels and I'll lose them, but it might be worth it. So, which is kind of morbid. Where's this other salt? Okay, I already have my 2 salt, so this is done. Man, I need grapes. Holy smokes. Wow. I don't have good stuff. And you remember, if farmers are on the river, they get wiped away too. So I guess I'll put this farmer here. but I still need to feed it with something. You know, that means, it doesn't mean it's fed. It means any resource can pay that. So essentially I have 5 resources and I already have 5 huts out there and I still need to place 4. So my gosh, this is like a nightmare scenario. This is so bad. Again, that was just the way the cards came out. So, okay, well, I may as well put something on meat. I can try to get some camels here, but I won't get camels if they're not fed. I don't really know if it matters. Okay, so there's salt, there's the meat. So I've got 2 resources left, a wild and a fish. Yeah, boy, I'm this is looking bad. I'll do a fish, and then the wild could be, I don't even know if I could build a well or anything. I mean, I could go here. I don't even know. Yeah, this is so bad. I might just start plopping them down in the river knowing they're not going to stay there. Yeah. I mean, again, I can only feed 5 of these huts, so I guess now it's just a matter of deciding what I'm feeding. Let me take one more peek at it. I think it'll have to be salt. Yep. Then the meat. I do want to keep that river guy. And then I've got a fish. Okay, so that's the fish. And then the wild. I mean, I'm not even really using the farmer, so I'll just hold on to them, I guess. For the wild, let's just go, I'll just go heavy on camels this round, I guess. That's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 12 camels. I can't even hold 12. So let me back off a sec. I'll just do this one for my wild. Okay, so am I feeding 5 huts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, okay. Yikes. You see, this gets a little bit stressful. So, yeah, let's see. I've got 9 out there, so 4 of these are getting removed. This one, this one, this one, and this one. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, that's just the nature of the game. So what am I getting here? Can't build any wells. I'm getting 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. Maybe I should have built another one in the river, or fed one of those river spaces. So yeah, 2, 4, 6 plus 1 for each river. And then I'm scoring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. So 65. All right. Well, that is what it is. Action phase. Okay, here we go. 10? Yep, 10 gold. Here we are. We've got a new ziggurat, and this time they can do that. So spend our 5, presumably. We're looking for fish. Is there a non-river fish space? No. And then they're going to look for dry land, and we're looking for the rightmost, which would be this one. So rightmost dry land, boom, is the ziggurat. And don't forget the offering track when you're playing this solo. All right, we got 5 gold left. 3 to build that level 2. We can certainly do that. And it would, of course, go on that new one again. They don't have to follow the rules as far as building twice in the same round. We've got 2 gold left, so let's come down here. 1 gold for the offering track. Now, they are going to place this roof down somewhere. We're actually going to wipe all 3. This is how this goes. And then normally, if it was a human player, they gain the benefit from that space. But they're just going to go on the lowest. So that would be here. And they don't get that gold, in my understanding. And they've got 1 gold left. They can go up the offering track again. It's pretty good. All right. Meanwhile, I've got 8 camels. Let's see what I can do with this. All right, I think I broadly know what I want to do with my 8 camels, and I'm really, really glad that that whole roof thing worked out the way it did, because again, if someone's going to place a roof and they're all roofed, you wipe them all off and then you place it wherever you want, and thankfully they went here because that 2 offering is going to bump me up to get that food token, and that is really nice. So I'm so glad I went there. I cannot build a roof if there's no roof. So I've got this place, primed for a roof, and that's the space I needed. So all that to say, I'm going to spend my 3 camels, so 8 down to 5. I'm going to take this roof, and I'm going to drop it right onto there. And I don't get the gold. That's the person who puts the roof there. I get this. So 2 influence gets me, first of all, in the lead, and the food token, which is going to be huge when it comes time to do this second feeding, this extra feeding phase. So hold on to that. And then here's what I was thinking. I can, what's underneath here? Oh, an offering track. Okay, so this whole thing is moving up that offering track, which this is where I need to go if I'm trying to get any points at the end of the game here. So I think what I'll do is build the same ziggurat twice, maybe. This costs 4 minus 1, so that's 3. Takes me down to 2. Yikes. Oof. I'm just trying to see if there's other things I can do, but this seems strong. This is not tied to either ziggurat, but I'll put it here. Drop that there. Okay, so now it's 3 camels for 3 steps up the offering track, which, you know what I just realized? I'm not going to have the camels to do that if I keep doing what I wanted to do. Because my idea was to try to finesse a way to build 3 camels and drop this there, which gives me the offering thing. Using the build the same ziggurat twice ability, but you know what I'll do instead? I could put this here for 2 camels, but that doesn't really score me a lot of points. What I'll do instead, I think, is, seems really weak. I'll ditch the game 1 farmer for the camel. No, I'll ditch this. That for the camel. I was at 0. So now I'm at 3. I'll go ahead and use this ability, spend 3 camels to go up 3 spaces on the offering track, because that's my desperate attempt to get some endgame points here. And I'm already down to 0 camels. Now I could cash this in for 1 camel. What would that get me? I'm at 0. I could gain a face-up card. I could take that and draw 1 food card. Maybe that would give me something to feed everybody. Well, let me think. There's going to be a flood. You know what? I'm probably overthinking this, because all that's going to be left is the grape and the salt, and I already have a token. So essentially, I don't, it's not a huge deal feeding things because of the flood. So what can I do instead? For 1 influence is what? Lose a camel to gain a different person's ability. I don't know what benefit I could really pull off with 1 camel. If I cash this in, I could get a goal, but even that's not going to help me. So I think I might just hold on to it. I don't see a benefit. So, okay, well, we'll call that quit in the action phase, which means it's time for, let me think, clean up. So we wipe this. We don't really need to do this civilization thing because we're ready for the flood. So if you remember, am I missing anything here? No, clean up. And then we take everything off the flood spaces. So boom, 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 boom. Yeah, it's a pretty clean slate. So those all get wiped. All right, cool. Then we score the offering track. So somehow I managed to get the lead, which means, remember, I get all of these together. I get 9 points. So it takes me to 74. And then we take this away. Is the AI within 4 points of me? Yes. So they get the other 2, they get the 5 points. So 74, tie game. All right. And then we do this whole side over here, the offering track. So red has no wells. They have 4 ziggurat locations. That's 2 times 4. That's 8 points. Takes them up to 82. I have 2 wells for 1 point each. So I get 2 points. Whoops. 76. And then 2 points per ziggurat location, which is 2, 4, 6. Okay. So 82, still tied. So again, super, super tight. The final thing that happens here, again, I'll get the rulebook out just to show you. This is interesting. It's kind of strange mechanically and even thematically. I don't believe this was in the original game. So after we do the second flood, we do one final, they call it a scoring phase. So feed your huts, lose any you can't feed, and then do the final scoring, which remember is ziggurat segments and non-river huts. So the AI just double check. They don't need to do this. That's yes, that's the end of the game for everybody. So sorry about that. End of game. They don't need to feed or destroy huts, but they still score points. So I guess it's just me trying to feed these guys. I can only feed one. So that one gives me more points. I'll go ahead and drop that hut. All right. And then I guess we'll start with the AI. They're scoring, same as usual here. Segments and huts. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus the one out there. So it's 11 points for the AI, which takes them to 93. And then for me, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that takes me up to 91. And there you have it. I think that's the whole game. So there you go. Super, super tight. 93 to 91. And I did not quite pull off a win this game. And that was Assyria 2nd Edition. A super close and fun game all the way to the end, but I did end up losing, of course, by 2 points. But with a score of 91, we'll go ahead and start by sending $50 to Halime, who lives in Assyria, or present-day Turkey, to be more precise. She's a 51-year-old mother of 3 who's been running a tailoring business with her husband for 15 years, and she's looking for a loan of $525 to buy more fabric for her business. We're gonna go ahead and send $50 toward that goal. The other $41 are gonna be donated to the National Immigrant Justice Center. This is an organization that's been around for over 40 years with the express goal of establishing and defending the legal rights of immigrants regardless of their background. They're currently comprised of over 2,000 professionals and pro bono volunteers, and last year alone they served over 11,000 individuals and families with a 98% success rate in obtaining legal relief for their clients. I think it's extremely vital and important and timely work that they're doing right now. So if you want to know more about the NIJC or Kiva, you can check out the links in the description down below. Anyways, that's it for today. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today and checking out such an incredible game. Don't forget to check out the Kickstarter page for Assyria 2nd Edition. I have a link to that in the description as well. And in the meantime, have a wonderful week. Take care and happy gaming. Bye.